Thank you, Mr. Gangwes. Thank you also for the people who spoke before me, Mr. Toli and Mr. Sogan. Before I start my presentation, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the Minister of Tourism and Culture and Art from Benin. He's in the audience, and also the Commissaire Général, Mrs. Borna. Distinguished guest, thank you for coming here today to be part of this presentation. It's a true honor for me to stand here in front of you today to tell the story of Benin. And I'm very proud to be part of that story. We have started a tremendous job in Benin to transform Benin for the past 5 to 6 years. Benin has been a changing country since 2016. And the story of Benin has not been told enough to the world. And I believe the Dubai Expo is a forum. It's giving us a tremendous opportunity to tell you all what has been happening in Benin for the past 5 years. You know, in 2016, there was a government change in Benin, and we had a new president, President Talon, who had made the decision to change the economic paradigm of Benin. And to do that, he has decided to really work on some key sectors, mainly agriculture, tourism, and industry. So for the past 5 years, we have worked on making Benin a better country in terms of the business environment of Benin. We have made changes to many laws to make Benin attractive to investors. And so we have focused the attention of the government of Benin on those 3 sectors, mainly agriculture, tourism, and the industrial sector. For the past 3 years, if you take agriculture, for example, we have increased the yield and output of the most important agricultural crops in Benin. If you take cotton, for example, in 2016, we were producing a little bit under 300,000 metric tons. But today, as of 2020, the last recorded output was 735,000 metric tons. This is due to the fact that we have started to mechanize our agriculture. The same thing is happening with soya, pineapple, cashew, and many other crops, shea. Cashew, for example, Benin is now the 7th largest producer of cashew. We produce one of the highest graded cashew in the world, and we're producing close to 175,000 metric tons with forecast to produce at least 350,000 metric tons within the next 3 years. But as you know, most investors do not come to Africa because of one important reason. People always complain about the fact that the conditions are not there for them to be investing their money in Africa. So what we have done for the past 5 years was to work on creating those conditions for investors to come into Benin to invest their money. So the conditions not only have changed, we have taken one important law in 2017, which is the law regarding special economic zones. That particular law has enabled us now to start the industrial development of Benin. As you know, even with agriculture, if you don't create the condition to transform, to process agricultural products, you have not really done anything. So what we have done with this law is to create the necessary condition within the special economic zone of Glodjigbe, which is the first special economic zone of Benin, which Mr. Gangbes was talking about earlier, That particular zone is a 1,640 hectare zone. It's a joint venture between the Republic of Benin and a group called Arise. Arise is a subsidiary of Olam, which is based in Singapore, which is one of the biggest agro-processing group in the world. And Arise is also detained by Africa Finance Corporation as well. So both the Republic of Benin and Arise joined force after the Special Economic Zone law was passed to develop the Special Economic Zone of Glodjig Bay. So now, those two have created what is called SIPI, which is Société d'Investissement et de Promotion de l'Industrie, which is basically the Investment and Industry Promotion Corporation, of which I'm the CEO. So the role of CP is basically to build, develop, promote, and manage the Special Economic Zone of Glodjig Bay. So today, that zone, we have developed the first 400 hectares of that zone. We started the development of that zone in February of 2021, and I can tell you today, as of today, that 92% of the infrastructure work is done. And today, we have the roads in that zone, we have energy, we have water, we have fiber optics, and we have all the infrastructure necessary for the development of industry. Basically, what we have done is we created an ecosystem in that particular zone to allow industry to perform. So when you're in that zone, you don't have to worry about what most people complain about, in Africa, or we cannot set up industrial businesses in Africa because we don't have energy, we don't have water, we don't have fiber optics, we don't have roads and things like that. So all those conditions are today in that zone. So what we are looking for is investors to come to Benin to take a look at what is happening, not only in Benin, but in that zone. It's an ecosystem that we're creating, and that ecosystem, not only it's an industrial ecosystem, but it's a very environmentally friendly ecosystem. That zone will be powered by a 300 megawatt solar power plant, because we want to make that zone the first carbon-free zone. It's going to be a zone that will be carbon neutral. So it will give more value to the crops that are transformed, that are processed in that particular zone. So Mr. Gangbes, I've talked earlier about some of the, I believe there was some issue with the translation, and maybe some of the part of his presentation was not really translated into English. So if you're in that particular zone, you can operate under two regimes. There's one particular regime which is called the export regime. So if you're in that particular regime, what you have to export everything that you produce outside of Benin and the ECOWAS region. ECOWAS is an economic organization in West Africa, which 16 countries of West Africa are part of that organization. So you have to export everything you produce out of that zone. And you enjoy a total exemption on custom duties when you import your plant and equipment. The same is true for the second regime. And within that second regime, which is called the intra-community trade promotion regime, you can sell within Benin and also within ECOWAS. And you enjoy basically the same exemption from custom duties when you import your equipment and plant. But the good thing about those two regimes is that when you produce in that zone, you enjoy a complete exemption from all taxes, corporate income tax, dividend tax, value-added tax, property tax on built and unbuilt properties, freedom to repatriate income. That particular point, freedom to repatriate your income, is very important because there's a lot of countries where investors are not able to repatriate their income. So in Benin, you're able to do that when you invest in that zone. You also have freedom to distribute dividend. There's no license required or quota definition for import. There's also an employer's exemption on wages, which is, a tremendous advantage because it allows you to attract the best workforce to come to work to Benin without being burdened by, wages, contribution, and things of that nature. So in terms of visa, there's a provision to facilitate visa also for foreign workers. Basically, this is what we expect from, the impact of the zone in terms of the economy of Benin. We expect that to have a tremendous impact on our economy. As of today, we have many investors that have signed up with us inside of that zone. We have at least 26 investors that have already signed. So the first 400 hectares, 95% of that first 400 hectares has already been reserved. So in the zone, you have an industrial area, you have a commercial area, you have a logistical area. You have a logistical area to allow where you have a truck terminal, you have ICD, land container depot. So basically what we're trying to do is create the condition for people to be able, once they produce, to take their goods outside of the zone, from the zone to the port. In addition to that, for example, a lot of cashew processing units outside of in general in Benin, they're having difficulties every year to get the raw material that is needed for the industries. Reason being, we have a lot of traders that come to Benin every year to take the whole production of Benin and to export that directly to Vietnam and India. So today, all that will be stopped. Within the next 2 years, it will be almost impossible to export raw cashew from Benin. Government will issue a ban to prevent people from doing that because we have enough installed capacity to process our raw material, our raw cashew in Benin. So in that particular zone, what we also provide is the supply of people who have the factory inside the zone. We'll supply them with raw material. We'll facilitate cashew to them. We'll facilitate cotton to them. Because we want to help them with what is called working capital, so they don't have to take their money to basically store cashew, cotton, instead of focusing on processing. So let's say every month they need, for example, 20,000 tons or 10,000 tons. We'll provide that to them. So they will keep their money and concentrate on developing the business. So today, what I want to tell you before I can wrap up this presentation is to tell you that Benin is a changed country. There's something happening in Benin, and it's worth taking a look at. And it is worth joining what is happening in Benin now, because if you don't join Benin in terms of its transformation now, it will be a little bit too late. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I really mean it. People who know Benin have, they do know that for the past 5 years we have worked tirelessly to change the paradigm of Benin. We have worked on the laws. We have worked on stymieing corruption. We have worked on many things to make Benin attractive to investors. And you have a government that is completely devoted to investors. You have a government that is pro-business. President of Benin is very pro-business. Mr. Gangbes, which is the CEO of IPS, is very pro-business. I was his deputy. I'm very pro-business. And I'm now heading this particular zone. So I can tell you, you have all the people, the resources in Benin that are waiting for you to welcome you, for you to invest in Benin. Thank you. If you have any questions, we will field them. Thank you. Feel free to ask any question. Maybe you might want to ask, how do we join this zone? I can tell you how do you join this zone. It's very easy. We can, give you all the details with the head of IPS. Benin is a single window country. So if you want to invest in Benin, you go through IPX, and IPX will route you to CP. Yes, we have one question. Yeah.
Very nice presentation.
Very good question. We are taking services as well. It's just that the main objective of the zone is to process agricultural product. But we do have part of the zone which is dedicated to service industries, such as, knowledge industry, such as, high-tech industry. And for example, we have electrical vehicle assembly that will be happening inside the zone. We already signed up with a group called Moto, and they will sell close to 50,000 to 100,000 motorbike every year, in addition to tricycle and later on full-size vehicle. We also have a company that have signed up for assembling computers, smartphone as well. We have another company which is a pharmaceutical company. So we have a variety of industry inside the industrial zone of Benin. It's just that you have to understand Benin is a regional powerhouse when it comes to agriculture. Believe it or not, we will be producing more than 1 million metric ton of cotton within the next 2 years. 60% of that cotton was sold to Bangladesh. And Bangladesh, a few years ago, was the poorest country in the world, okay? And so today, what we are saying is, we want to process that cotton in Benin, which is it's a simple proposition. Same thing for cashew. Those are, if you take 1 kg of cashew, today, you're only getting a value of less than $0.50 when it's sold raw. But the same kg can yield as much as $20 when it's sold in a store. Same thing for cotton. If you take cotton, less than $1 per kg. When you take the cotton all the way to clothing, you're talking about $20, $25 per kg. So that is what we're trying to do to capture the added value in Benin. This will allow the country to increase its GDP. It will allow the country to increase its value in terms of export, which will also allow the country to borrow at lower rate to develop infrastructure. It is a simple proposition. Thank you. Okay, I'll take these last questions because I think they need to use the auditorium. But I'll just answer this question quickly. You know, for the past 5 years, Benin have invested heavily in the road network infrastructure in terms of roads, okay? And so also we are also going to invest in railway, you know, for transportation from the zone to the port of Benin. You know that zone is 45 kilometers from the seaport of Benin, and there's a main highway that goes right in front of the zone to the seaport. So there's no issue regarding transportation of goods that are processed, and there's also no issue regarding getting raw material from various parts of Benin to the zone. The zone is, you know, in a position geographically which is between the production area and the port of Cotonou. And as I stated earlier, we have a logistical park inside the zone. We have a truck terminal, we have an ICD terminal as well to allow for, you know, goods coming in and out. So that zone has been really well thought. You know, it's a complete ecosystem that we created because, you know, the technical partner that Benin joined forces with, which is Arise have developed the special economic zone of Gabon and CAC, okay, and also the special economic zone in Togo called PIA, which is, you know, which are very successful projects so far. And so we're going to do the same thing in Benin, and we welcome you to come to Benin to join forces with us to take Benin to the next level in terms of its economy. Thank you very much.